We're now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, many people peg the Lakers to win the West before the start of the season. It's almost hard to remember that. So what is wrong with LA right now?
Well, there's a plethora of things, but I'll hit on two right now. One, guys, is the defense. And I don't know how in the world they're ranked 17th in the league in defensive efficiency, because they look a lot worse than that to me. And when they play young, athletic teams, they just can't stay in front of them, and they can't stay with them. And that's why even when they win, they beat Atlanta, they beat Portland, they beat Sacramento, they beat Minnesota, the games are still fairly close for the most part, right? Because those teams are young and they can move, and the Lakers have trouble staying with them. And last night, you saw they had 70 points in the paint for Sacramento, and then they hit 11 threes. That means you're getting everything you want. Like, that's an analytics person's dream, because all you want is points in the paint or three-pointers, and they were getting whatever they wanted from the Lakers because they're too old. Their best defender's Avery Bradley. He's still good, but he's older. He can't stay with guys like he used to. LeBron can block some shots, can get some steals and strips, as we saw last night, but he's not the every possession defender he used to be. And then Russ, Malik Monk, they're not guarding. And so you got either Austin Reeves or Stanley Johnson in there as a defensive player. And then I'm going to hit Westbrook. I really think, guys, Westbrook is lost. Like, I don't think he has any idea how the Lakers want him to play. And that's why he's in the shooting slump. I know he's not a great shooter, but I think this is contributing to why he's missing layups, he's missing shots he normally makes, and he's in one of the worst shooting slumps of his career. And he said as much the other night, a couple days ago, he said, sometimes I'm in the dunker spot, sometimes I'm cutting, sometimes I'm screening, sometimes I have the ball in my hands. I think he's trying, but he's confused. Bottom line is he knows how to play one way and be effective that way. And that's the way he's played the last 13 years. But that's not how the Lakers need him to play. It's like Allen Iverson at the end in Detroit, in Memphis. Yeah. If he's not Allen Iverson, what's he doing for you? If Westbrook can't be Westbrook, what's he giving you? So it goes back to what we all said. It's just a bad fit.
Yeah, they're not a good team. Chris, Skip, I'm gonna simplify it even more than that. They're not a good basketball team right now. And the pieces, you're right, they do not fit. Last night, LeBron was very inefficient, which is very abnormal considering the way he's played since he's returned. But he was very inefficient last night. He was jacking up threes that I don't believe he should have jacked up, because when he started doing that, here come Russ like, well, this is Russ saying, well, everybody else is allowed to miss shot. I should be allowed to miss shot. But, Chris, where I'm going to push back on you're talking about Russ is in a slump. Russ is shooting the exact same percentage this year from the floor that he shot the previous 13 years. He's shooting 1% worse this year from the three than he shot in the previous 13 years. So, in actuality, he's doing the exact same thing he's done in the previous 13 years. It's just on a bigger stage, just with greater expectations. So now he can't hide behind the triple-double. Chris, we're no longer seduced by the triple-doubles, are we? Because it doesn't mean anything, because once we started to pick it apart, we started getting down and we see how the sausage was made. It was like, this joker been playing terrible, getting triple-doubles, and we've been letting him skate. Now you're with the Lakers. There's an expectation, championships. In Washington, nobody cared. You turned the ball over 8 times. Who cared? You turned it over in Oklahoma City 11 times. Who cared? But you're playing with the Lakers. They were one of the teams that was favored to contend, if not win the title. And now, all of a sudden, when you're on the stage, if I get to see you dance every night, I can see, man, that joker really can't dance at all. He had us fooled. We watching him 1 or 2 times a year, and we thought he was Michael Jackson. This joker out there got 2 left feet, and that's what has happened. They're not a good basketball team, and the one big piece that they added, it does not fit. They don't play defense, and this is why when you get a 14-point lead, you start jacking up threes, you don't play defense, guess what happens? That 14-point lead all of a sudden turns into an 11-point deficit. The end.
Mm.
Chris, what I'm going to push back on you, you're talking about Russ is in a slump. I don't know how in the world they're ranked 17th in the league in defensive efficiency, because it they look a lot worse than that to me. And when they play young, athletic teams, they just can't stay in front of them, and they can't stay with them. So that's why when you get a 14-point lead, you start jacking up threes, you don't play defense, guess what happens? That 14-point lead all of a sudden turns into an 11-point deficit. The end.
This joker actually has 2 left hands, and he's left-handed, which means he's got the worst hands in the history of basketball. I don't know what happened. It's stunning to watch. Chris Broussard, my friend, I told you a couple of weeks back that the only Laker who keeps catching my eye is the undrafted rookie from the University of Oklahoma, Austin Reeves. And I concluded and tweeted last night, it has come to this for the Lakers. Their second best all-around player, the one I want on the floor, fourth quarter, overtime, whatever, is Austin Reeves, because he plays fearlessly, relentlessly hard, and he knows how to play. He makes the right play. He makes big shots. I'm not saying he's a godsend. I'm just saying it's come to this for the Lakers right now, because what came clear to me last night, number one, was as great as LeBron is playing, and I do not throw that word around frivolously, great as he's playing in year 19, it came clear last night that once they built a 14-point lead off his 3, and he's kind of strutting back up the court, as he should, he's a hot hand. He can't sustain it anymore. He cannot carry a mediocre basketball team to victory, even at Sacramento, because he's going to run out of some gas. And he tried to, push back down on the accelerator in the fourth quarter, and he didn't play very well. He started missing. What did he do? He went 1 of 4 from 3 in the fourth, and it just wasn't enough. And it's hard for LeBron to overcome Russell Westbrook without Anthony Davis, because I don't care. I know Shannon's down on him. Maybe you are too, Chris. But AD is still a top 10 player. I know he hasn't played that way, but if they did have him, surely they'd have a better shot at winning as a 4-point favorite at Sacramento against a team that had lost 5 straight and 6 of 7. That's pathetic. That's hitting bottom. And it's a combination of all those things. Back to your defense, Chris. They were number 1 in defensive efficiency just last year, led by LeBron James, who was a top 10 defensive player in rating. LeBron's now ranked in defensive efficiency 211th, so he's just not playing at that caliber and not lifting them up, because to your point, they're lucky to be 17th in defensive efficiency now.
They got one last hope, right? They through this season, it's like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. I think the last thing might be when AD gets back. Frank Vogel has said he's going to play center, right? And so I think obviously you got AD and LeBron on the floor, and they're going to have to, I'm not saying you bench him, but they're going to have to make some serious decisions, like in crunch time. I said it last week or two. They're going to have to get Russ out of there, right? I mean, you do it subtly, do it, don't make a declaration. But they're going to have to try to get him off the floor late, and maybe an Austin Reeves or Stanley Johnson, put some of these guys around LeBron and AD, and that's your last try.
Sure.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.